So Loop Gear have released a new version of their SK05 Pro, and it comes in this new micro arc oxidation coating. And it also has a few minor changes that I want to talk about. And yeah, I know some of you may have seen my previous review of the SK05 base model. This one is basically the upgraded version. It's got increased output, hot swappable batteries inside as well. And yeah, the SK05 Pro easily makes it into my top 5 flashlights, as it has pretty much everything you could want in a flashlight. And I'll go through just a quick little demo of what I mean. So you can see those auxiliary modes before. That's like a battery indicator that turns on. And here you've got a flood beam with 3 LEDs, really bright. You can also get these LEDs in high CRI if you want. You've also got this spot beam here on this second bezel, and there's turbo modes. There's also a special mode you press and hold, and it puts both of them on the highest mode. You've also got, like I was demonstrating before, these auxiliary lights. There's different kind of modes that you can select. That's just a normal kind of floodlight, high CRI floodlight, and also different colors that you can choose from as well. In here there's a few little flashy modes that might come in handy for some of you. So let's have a look at what you get in the box. And this is the box itself. It's pretty basic. On the back it should indicate which version you've got, the high CRI or the high brightness version. You do get a USB-C charging cable. Now the actual clip of the flashlight came detached, and you have to just use a couple of these screws to screw it in. Now, some people, I guess, don't use the clip. I'm definitely going to use the clip. And you've also got this manual. All right, so here are a few other flashlights in my collection. Recently, I just received the Nightcore EDC 37. It's a little bit smaller, but not by much. The Wuben X4 here, definitely smaller, only takes one 18650 cell. I've got the Nightcore EDC 29 there, so it's definitely the chunkiest of all of my kind of flat style flashlights, unless we're looking at the Wuben X1. So this is the normal hard anodized version of the SK05 Pro, and the big difference compared to the normal SK05 version is that you have these hot swappable batteries, just able to access them through this latch. You've also got upgraded battery capacity, so 4000 milliamp hour cells in the Pro model. And of course, you've got upgraded LEDs in the head that throw further and also produce more light. And the 18650 cells that are included with the SK05 Pro, at least 4000 milliamp hour cells. That's pretty much the highest capacity that you can get with 18650 batteries. So I mentioned that there are some differences with the new micro arc oxidation version of the SK05 Pro. So basically it's got an auto lock feature. This activates after 1 minute of not using the flashlight. So basically, yeah, if you have it in any of these other modes and you press the button, it's going to have this kind of red bar there. The only way to disable it is just to go back to the lock mode and then go back into that mode again. It's more of a safety feature, and I kind of wish that it was on the older model, just so that, yeah, the light doesn't turn on accidentally in your pocket. You can also deactivate that auto lock feature if you want. There's also a slight modification to the rotary switch. As you can see here, there's a little bit of this knurling on the switch, which makes it easier to rotate around. And also in the head of the flashlight, you've got this kind of glow in the dark bezel. So let me see if I can just activate that for a moment. It's difficult to see here in camera, but yeah, you can see there it just glows. The head just glows in the dark compared to this transparent version here. I really like this new finish. It reminds me pretty much of marble or some type of fancy rock. And yeah, it's the same color all the way through, as you can see with the previous SK05 or the normal anodized version. It's this duotone color. So yeah, it's really depends on what you like. Performance wise, it's pretty much identical to the non-micro arc oxidized version. All right, so here's a little close-up of the Loop SK05 Pro, and it's made of aluminium alloy, high quality machining, and it feels pretty robust. It's got this unique futuristic design, and it stands out right away from all of my other tube style flashlights, especially with this unique white finish. It's not completely white, it's almost like an off-white, like marble color, I suppose. And the anodizing is neither smooth or grippy, it's somewhere in the middle. I do like that it has some extra knurling here, helps with some grip. It's IP68 dust and water resistant. And basically, you've got this switch here, which I kind of demoed at the beginning. It's a rotating dial there, and it's got an electronic switch in the center. Actually activate it. And you've also got a strong magnet here in the tail, so you can stick it onto your workbench, on the bonnet of your car. And yeah, like I was showing you before, there is this kind of latch on the tail here. Okay, it does have a locking mechanism, so you've got to unlock it first. That allows you to hot swap these cells. There's also a lanyard hole here as well, just underneath the tail cap. Onboard USB-C charging, rated at 20 watts. And it also functions as a power bank, thankfully. Another interesting feature is that if you've only got one 18650 cell for whatever reason, maybe one's damaged or yeah, you've only got one spare, it's still going to work just on that single cell. Here's a little look under the bezel or the bezels, and you basically got this dual bezel design. One side houses the throwy LED, the SFT25R, that produces a nice focused hotspot, smooth reflector there as well. And the other one here basically houses the 3 triple LED arrays. So you either have the Nichia 519A LEDs in there if you want some high CRI LEDs, or you can go for the SST25s like I have, which produce a much more powerful floodlight. If you go for the SST25 version, you get an extra 1000 lumens on flood. On the side of the SK05 Pro, you've got this LED strip, and it serves as a battery indicator, also a charging indicator. Plus, you can go into the different modes. There's a nice little floodlight with different brightness levels. You've also got RGB modes in there, some emergency modes, but I'll demonstrate that later on. Okay, so let's go through the UI, and I'll give you a quick crash course on how to use this flashlight. So at the moment, it's on the lock mode. You can see here just by that little pointy arrow. So in that lock mode, nothing happens when you press down. It just produces this red light here on the side. This might be okay as well as a night light. It's just enough to see where you're going. And if you bring it up to this, rotate it to that second area here, that's the floodlight. So it basically turns on those 3 LEDs. It does have a memory mode in there as well. So say if you've got that on the high mode like that, it's going to remember it. Okay, it doesn't remember the turbo mode. So to enter turbo, you just double press. Okay, you can also just double press from off. You see that head start to glow already. And we'll bring it over to the next mode, which is the spot mode. Okay, pretty similar function. Press down to go between low, medium, high. Double press for turbo, and it does remember the last mode besides turbo. So with the sidelight mode selected, just press the switch to turn it on. It remembers the last mode. This is the flood mode, flood sidelight mode. It doesn't produce a whole lot of light, but it is high CRI light from just doing a quick measurement. Didn't even show up in terms of the lux figures unless I brought it very, very close, maybe like 30 centimeters away. Okay, so yeah, like I said, you can sort of go through, change the brightness settings. If you double press, you can get into like just a normal RGB mode, like a solid color mode. Press and hold, and it like brings you through all the different colors like that, and just stop on the particular color that you want. Okay, now if you quad press, you can actually change the brightness. Okay, might actually put it a little bit lower, and double press again, and here we have more of these RGB modes. Okay, a lot of these I don't really use, but some of you might find them, fun. And if you triple press as well, you can get into some of these like flashy modes. So it's like a police, like emergency mode. That's like a flashy white or green and red mode there. And I think this is just a normal like SOS mode in there too. Like I mentioned in the start of the video, the SK05 Pro does have this auto lock feature after 1 minute, but you can disable it if you just go into any of the other modes besides lock. Press 6 times and then you'll get this flashy pattern there. And once you go into lock, see how it glows green? It means that that lock, that 60-second lock is disabled. If you want to re-enable it, just go back into any other mode and press 6 times again. And there you have it. You've got that lock enabled as it turns red. So I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests with my Loop SK05 Pro micro arc oxidation version, and spoiler alert, it's pretty much the same as the normal anodized version, but I'll go through again. You can see here on the turbo flood plus throw mode, so the highest mode on there, you've kind of got to hold down that button to activate it. You can see you get about 40 seconds of runtime before the light steps down. So just after the 1 minute mark, I reactivated turbo. And again, after 1.5 minute mark, I've reactivated turbo again. So you can see you can just continually reactivate it. The head gets pretty hot after a while though, so you probably don't want to do this too often. It's still good to know that you have that option available though. Here is a ceiling bounce test on the turbo mode, the turbo flood mode. And you can see you get about 40 seconds of runtime before the light steps down. At the 1 minute mark, you can see the light is on about 20% output. And at the 5 minute mark, the light jumps up to just under 40% of output. Here's another ceiling bounce test on the turbo spot mode. And you can see it's pretty much the same pattern, that 40-second point before the light steps down to about 20%. And then you've got that 5 minute ramp up again to 40%. This is a ceiling bounce test on the high flood mode, and you can see there was no drop in output, and the same deal here with the high spot mode. Alrighty, so some considerations I want to talk about now. The SK05 Pro micro arc oxidation version is pretty much identical in terms of performance to the SK05 Pro, the original anodized version. So unless you really like the color, there's not really a huge difference between both of them. Like I said, I've gone through some of the minor differences. Probably the biggest one is that you've got the lock and then of course the color itself. But if you're someone who's deciding to either get the SK05, upgrade from the SK05, I really think that the Pro model is worth the extra money. The second consideration is that the light steps down in 40 seconds, like you've seen in the ceiling bounce tests. And yeah, it does get quite hot if you keep reactivating turbo. And this is considered pretty normal given the high output of the light. It's also pretty small, for something that produces so much light. There's no true moonlight mode on any of the main lighting modes. But yeah, the side floodlights on the lowest mode is dim enough for my liking. I also like just putting it on the red mode if possible. The third consideration is that this light is fairly heavy. It's 225 grams with batteries. So yeah, keep in mind that it is pretty robust and it has, 8,000 milliamp hour cell battery in there. So you're going to be able to use this as a portable charger as well for other devices. But if you want, really light EDC flashlight, AA flashlight, then yeah, this probably isn't the one for you. The fourth consideration is, although the UI is intuitive once you get used to it, it does take a little while to learn how to use this thing, especially the sidelight mode in here. Not that you're going to probably use a lot of those modes in there, but just to learn how to swap between the brightness levels, go between the different flashy modes. It is a little bit confusing to start off with. So yeah, I know in the dark sometimes it does take me a bit to figure out which way to turn it to get it into flood or spot mode. I probably don't use this flashlight just enough though. For those of you who are using it pretty often, it's going to be pretty easy just to realize if you slide this dial to the left, that's going to get you to lock, and then you can just figure out from there which mode is which. Overall, the Loop Gear SK05 Pro is a highly versatile, well-built EDC flashlight that effectively combines flood, spot, and sidelight modes in a compact design. And I'm blown away at just how Loop have managed to squeeze in so many features into one light. Thankfully, they've got a dual 18650 cell configuration in there, so you're really going to get some sustained run times with this light. So yeah, if you're looking for the ultimate do-it-all flashlight, the Loop SK05 Pro is definitely worth considering. So if you're interested in this flashlight, go ahead and check out the link in the video description. I've got a special discount voucher there. And if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, do me a big favor, click the like button and share it with someone who might be interested. Just helps me to get the video out to more people. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews and keep up to date with the latest news, make sure you subscribe. Loop Gear SK05 Pro. This is on the spot beam. It's the MAO micro arc oxidation version. Okay, you've got three, kind of like a low, medium, high with the spot. The high mode's reaching the end real easy, but you've also got a little trick here, turbo high mode. Incredible. Just perfectly focused. I think the high mode is still, I would say the high mode is enough. Now, let's swap it over to the flood mode. So just go through these different modes: low, medium, high, low, medium, high. And the high mode reaches, I would say it reaches through the back pretty easy. I'm into that field, as you can see. Double press, holy cow, that's 3,000 plus lumens. Super bright. And it extends all the way into my peripherals. Now there's a flood and throw mode at the same time. The highest, that's it. So that's kind of best of both worlds, really. You've got to hold the button down in order to access it, though. It's a perfect beam, really. I'll go for a little walk, and I'll go through the different modes as well while I'm walking. And I've also got the SK05 here to the left. I'm going to compare that to the SK05 Pro. So firstly, on that special everything on mode, that's the SK05, and this is the SK05 Pro. So you can see, like, the beam, probably have them both on at the same time to show you, but the hotspot is larger on the SK05 Pro. Intensity wise, yeah, it's actually, yeah, definitely is more intense, the SK05 Pro. But, you know, with the SK05, it's still pretty good. It's plenty bright. You just get that extra bump in performance with the SK05 Pro, larger hotspot. It's probably going to be more apparent if I just switch it on to the spot beam. Okay, so these are the spot beams on high for both, and turbo for both. And let's go on to the flood mode. So this is the SK05 on the left here, and Yeah, these are both in, so that's basically high. Let me just make sure. High on the SK05 and high on the SK05 Pro. Okay, it's wider beam with the SK05 Pro. Let's go into turbo. That's the SK05. And that's the SK05 Pro. It actually looks like the beam is maybe a little more concentrated in the center with the SK05, maybe even more like throwier. Yeah, it is with the SK05 compared to the SK05 Pro here. SK05 and SK05 Pro. Loop SK05 Pro close-up. And I've had to lower the ISO on my camera because it's just so bright. I'm going just the normal flood modes. Low, medium, high. Even medium's going to be good as just a general walking light. And turbo. Wow. Swap into the spot mode now. So low, medium, high, medium, high. There you go. It's a great spotting beam. That's turbo. And it just drowns everything out close range like this.